Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this session, I'll be continuing with photosynthesis. In my last session, I completed about absorption and action spectrum. So now I will be continuing with the electron transport. So here we'll be discussing first what is non-cyclic electron transport in the first video. Subsequent videos will continue with the topic. So those who have not yet subscribed, please subscribe my channel so that you will be getting notifications earlier and you will have the maximum benefit. So now let us come back to the topic. So electron transport. What is its requirement? What is electron transport? So the first event in light phase is always excitation of chlorophyll molecule. So chlorophyll molecule will absorb light, and chlorophyll molecule, we know it absorbs blue and red light, and then it goes to the excited state. From excited state, it releases electron. The electrons are accepted by various electron carriers, and finally they pass through the two photosystems, two chlorophyll molecule, and this electron transport results in formation of products of light phase, that is ATP and NADPH2. So here earlier we discussed that there are two photosystems involved in electron transport, which is the most common type, and there may be one photosystem also. So wherever two photosystems are involved, that is photosystem 1 and photosystem 2, this we name it as non-cyclic electron transport. And if only one photosystem, that is photosystem 1 only, if it is involved, then it is called as a cyclic electron transport. So we will now first do what is non-cyclic electron transport and what is non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Also. So photophosphorylation is mainly results in synthesis of ATP. So for that, first we will see what is electron transport and what is non-cyclic electron transport. So here I told you, in non-cyclic electron transport, we have two photosystems. First, the photosystem 2 absorbs a light of 680 nanometers and releases electron, which is accepted by primary electron acceptor, and then passes to the electron transport system consisting of cytochromes, and movement of electrons is downhill in terms of redox potential. This I am going to show diagrammatically what is the downhill movement, and electrons are not used in the process but they are passed on to photosystem 1, and electrons from reaction center of photosystem 1 are excited, and when they receive the 700 nanometers. Photosystem 1, the reaction center is P700 for photosystem 1. So they receive the light of this wavelength P700, and then they get excited, transfer to another electron acceptor having a greater redox potential, and these again move downhill to energy rich NADP+. So from photosystem 1, the electrons again move to another electron acceptor and proton acceptor called NADP+. This type of zigzag movement of electron, which is starting from photosystem 2, passing through various electron carriers, and again reaching the photosystem 1, finally NADP+. This type of movement is in a zigzag manner, so it is called as a Z scheme of electron transport. Now let us see diagrammatically how exactly the electron transport will take place. So now let us see. In terms of redox potential, if we observe this diagram, in terms of redox potential, this is a redox potential scale. This side it is of high energy, this side it is of lower energy, and this side it is a reducing property, this side it is an oxidizing property. So I have given a scale 0, below the 0 oxidizing property I have given as a positive value 0.4, 0.8, 1.2. The other side I have given a negative value 0.4, 0.8 and minus 1.2. Now here first the photosystem 2, that is with P680, it absorbs light, and then it reaches the excited state. Excited state I have shown it by a star, and then primary electron acceptor is called PQ. PQ stands for plastoquinone. PQ stands for plastoquinone. From plastoquinone, cytochrome B6 and F complex, the electrons move to cytochrome B6 and F complex. Then to another electron carrier, plastocyanin. Then to photosystem 1. Meanwhile, the photosystem 1 also absorbs light of wavelength 700 nanometers, and then it releases electrons. These electrons, after it reaches the excited state, when it releases electron, the primary acceptor of electron here is ferredoxin, and then to NADP+. NADP+ is getting reduced to NADPH. So this movement of electron we find in a zigzag manner. So it is called as a Z scheme of electron transport. Z scheme was given by Hill and Bendall. They explained the Z scheme of electron transport. So here we find when P680 loses electron, the electrons are again supplied due to photolysis of water. When two molecules of water undergo photolysis, it releases 4 protons, 4 electrons and 1 oxygen molecule. So these electrons are supplied to P680. That's how when it releases electron, it gets back its electron. Whereas when photosystem 1 loses electron, it gets back its electron through photosystem 2. So all these electron carriers, they are arranged according to this redox potential scale. Then here we also describe as downhill and uphill movement. So let us see first movement from P680 to primary electron acceptor, that is plastoquinone. This movement we call it as uphill movement. This is called it as uphill movement. So uphill movement here we find from higher redox potential to lower redox potential value, and in terms of energy it is lower energy to higher energy. So here from higher redox value to lower redox value. This we call it as uphill movement here. Next movement from plastoquinone to photosystem 1. The movement from plastoquinone to photosystem 1, this we call it as a downhill movement. Downhill movement we find here from lower redox potential value to higher redox potential value. So downhill movement we call it as from lower redox value to higher redox value. This is a downhill movement. Then again next movement we take from photosystem 1 to primary electron acceptor, that is ferredoxin. This is a FRS also, iron containing compound. So photosystem 1 to ferredoxin, again we call it as uphill movement. Then lastly from ferredoxin to NADP+. This is we call it as a downhill movement. So there will be 2 uphill and 2 downhill movements. So this is one very important thing you have to remember with respect to the redox potential values. Now we have to say we can arrange these different electron carriers and these different photosystems in one particular sequence with respect to redox potential. So suppose we arrange in terms of higher redox value to lower redox value. Let us arrange in this manner. Higher to lower redox value. Highest redox value we find for P680. P680 has highest redox potential value. Then comes the P700. Then comes the P700. Then we find P680, P680 excited. This we have given by a star mark, P680 excited. Then from P680 excited, lowest redox value we find P700, P700 excited. So this is the sequence, decreasing order of sequence of the redox potential values. Now, based on this, it can be also categorized as strong oxidant or weak oxidant. P680, we call it as a strong oxidant. PS1, P700, it is a weak oxidant. P680 excited is a weak reductant. And P700 excited is a strong reductant. So oxidant which easily causes oxidation. Reductant which easily causes reduction. So this is strong oxidant because it is causing oxidation of water here. Photolysis of water. This is called strong reductant because it is causing reduction of NADP+. So based on their redox potential value, we find this is how the electron transport takes place. And this was given by Hill and Bendall and named it as Z scheme of electron transport. And this does not explain any proton translocation. This explains only electron transport. So later by Hill and Bendall, a detailed explanation was given for which also the diagram also explains the proton translocation. So let us go through what is the detailed account of non-cyclic electron transport. So here also I am going to give you diagrammatically the detailed account of non-cyclic electron transport. So now let us understand the diagram in terms of membrane. The thylakoid membrane, we know thylakoid membrane is involved, which consists of different photosystems, and then across the thylakoid membrane, what is how the transport occurs. So what is the mechanism? So now let us see. This is the membrane. I have shown it with all the electron carriers. The other side, this is stroma region and this is the lumen region. So lumen and the stroma region. So now let us see. So this is photosystem 2. So first photosystem 2 will get excited, then followed by photosystem 1. So photosystem 2, where reaction center is P680, it first excites by absorbing electrons, by absorbing light, photons, and then it releases 2 electrons accepted by pheophytin. This we give it as a first step. We can give this as a first reaction, excitation followed by transfer of electrons to pheophytin. This is the first step. Pheophytin, PHEO. PHEO will be pheophytin. PHEO will be pheophytin. And in the second step, from pheophytin, the electrons are accepted by plastoquinone. This we give it as a second step. Plastoquinone, PQ. PQ stands for plastoquinone, which is another acceptor of electron. And third step will be this step, photolysis of water. It is called photolysis of water. That is the third step. In photolysis of water, we find the water undergoes splitting. One water molecule, when it undergoes splitting, 2 protons, 2 electrons and 1 oxygen atom is released. This is taking place in the lumen. It is taking place in the lumen of thylakoid. and the electrons which are released due to photolysis, these electrons pass through oxygen evolving complex. This OEC is called oxygen evolving complex. This oxygen evolving complex, it consists of 4 manganese ions, 1 chloride and 1 calcium ions. It is a protein. It carries this electron through this protein. The electrons reach P680. Finally, this oxygen evolving complex transfers electrons to P680. So this photolysis of water, this is the third step. Now next, the fourth step. Fourth step is called as quinone cycle. We call the fourth step as quinone cycle or Q cycle, quinone cycle. So what happens here in quinone cycle? In quinone cycle we find plastoquinone, which is already receiving electrons from pheophytin. It also accepts 2 protons from stroma region. It gets completely reduced to PQH2. So this PQH2, which is reduced form of plastoquinone, this is called as a plastoquinol. It is called as a plastoquinol. This plastoquinol, when it again gets oxidized, it changes back to plastoquinone. As a process, it releases 2 protons and 2 electrons. The 2 protons reach lumen and 2 electrons are transferred to the next complex, that is called cytochrome B6 and F complex. This whole movement of electrons involving the conversion of plastoquinone to plastoquinol, this is called as quinone cycle. It is called as a quinone cycle. Now, from one quinone cycle, we can find the electrons coming from pheophytin, and plastoquinone also accepts 2 protons. It is releasing 2 protons in the lumen region. So now in the lumen region we have, from one water molecule we have 2 protons, and from one quinone cycle we have another 2 protons. That means from one water molecule we have altogether 4 protons. Now this quinone cycle we can number it as the 4th step. Now next, fifth step will be, from plastoquinol, the electrons are moving to cytochrome B6, from cytochrome B6 to cytochrome F, this complex, and from this complex to next electron carrier called plastocyanin. So this, from cytochrome B6 to plastocyanin, we call it as a 5th step. So PC, which I have written here, PC stands for plastocyanin, This is the 5th step. Now, from plastocyanin, the electrons must reach P700, but before that, P700 must first absorb light and then it should pass on the electrons to the primary electron acceptor. This we consider as a 6th step. So in 6th step, from P700 to FRS, ferredoxin reducing substance, and then to ferredoxin. So once the P700 has lost electrons, in the next step, that is in the 7th step, plastocyanin will release electrons to P700. That means P700 is getting directly electrons from plastocyanin. Now, next, from ferredoxin, the electrons, final electron acceptor will be NADP+. This NADP+ will accept electrons from ferredoxin and protons from stroma region, and then gets completely reduced to NADPH2. So, starting from photosystem 2, the electron is moving through various complexes and cytochromes. Finally, the electron is reaching NADP+, and that results in synthesis of NADPH2. In the process, the protons which are accumulated in the lumen, these protons pass through another complex called as CF0, CF1. CF0 stands for coupling factor CF and CF1, CF0. About this we will be doing in next topic, that is chemiosmosis in detail. So protons move through this complex, finally resulting in, when protons are moving through this complex, they result in synthesis of ATP. So all 4 protons, when they pass through this complex, finally it results in synthesis of 2 ATP molecule. So the synthesis of ATP molecule is called as a phosphorylation, and this is taking place in non-cyclic electron transport. So this is called as non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Because it is taking place during light phase, it is called as a photophosphorylation. Now, this is what is the non-cyclic electron transport and photophosphorylation briefly. And my next next topic, I will be discussing in detail about chemiosmosis. Now, just one or two other points, like there are some chemicals, DCMU, dichloromethyl dimethylurea, dimethylurea. DCMU stands for dichloroethyl and dimethylurea. This is used as a weedicide, killing the weeds. So how does it kill the weeds? It prevents the flow of electrons from photosystem 2 to photosystem 1. It prevents the flow of electron. There is another weedicide called paraquat. This also prevents flow of electron from photosystem 1 to NADP+. So these chemicals can inhibit non-cyclic electron transport, and thus they act as a weedicide. They can be used for killing the weeds. So with this, students, I conclude non-cyclic electron transport, and in my next video I'll be continuing with chemiosmotic mechanism and how the synthesis of ATP can take place due to non-cyclic electron transport. Followed by, we will do with cyclic electron transport also. So thank you very much, children. Have a good day. So if you have not yet subscribed, and if you are new to the channel, you must subscribe my channel so that you will be getting all the notifications. Thank you very much, children. Study well. Good day.